who's talking right now, and you could train a model to know that it's like you versus your child or a neighbor. And then there's also custom speech service, which is what the translator is using right now. It went through and looked at my slides and the notes I had, and it created a custom speech model that would allow it to better understand what I'm saying. And you might need this in like a medical industry, something like CT scan. It's not gonna know. Yeah, CT scan. It's really hard to understand. So usually I see either that or I see CT scan, like you're seeing T. So you have to create custom models. So you have to create custom models for the medical industry so that they can use different terms like that. So in speech, you can hear and speak to users by filtering the noise. You can identify the speakers, understand intent. And with the speech API, you get that voice recognition, so you can convert spoken audio to text, which is what's going on right now. You can also synthesize audio from text, so text to speech. And then you can do intent recognition. So we have a program called LUIS, which is Language Understanding Intelligence Service, which allows you to figure out the intents of different of natural language. So you would put in a bunch of training values that say, what is the weather today versus tell me the weather. Those are different ways to say the same question, and it will be able to figure out what the intent is. And then, like I mentioned, custom speech, you can customize both language and the acoustic models. It is a little bit tricky to get started with it, though, because you need, I think, 100 WAV files of every statement that you want in there. So it takes time to put that all together and get the actual data for it. But when you do it at scale, it is really a great way to add to your applications. So you can record audio, then you transcribe it, and then you can adapt and continuously redeploy it using machine learning. So there's a cool scenario of how we're using this in AR and VR. So if I switch to this video, see if it works with sound.
So think about this. How often are you alive when the dawn of a new medium comes out? I knew that I had to be a part of VR because there are no rules for what VR should be. Starship Commander is a choose-your-own-adventure VR narrative that uses natural language processing, so you can actually have a real conversation with the characters.
I'm Sergeant Sarah Pearson. I've been assigned to your wing today.
When we started making Starship Commander, we had to figure out, how do we get technology that can understand what a person's saying so that we can have these new narrative experiences? We're a science fiction game. We come up with new words. No off-the-shelf software could let us put in custom words.
Who are the Echnians?
In our story, the bad guys are called the Echnians. And every time we said Echnian, it would come up with really weird words that were similar to other things that you would say. And so it would get confused all the time. So we need...
And we can see what actually it thought. Said acne. Echnians didn't really work. So using that custom speech model, you can see how it really does help you with your in your apps and like helping with the new mediums. But speaker recognition, which you mentioned, and how that works is like you would have to enroll, you create your own voice identifications, you upload a bunch of samples of you speaking, and then it will recognize, and then you can also verify it different ways. So what's the best way to put it all together? We have this really new tool called Video Indexer. So I put in a video from YouTube, and it goes through and it transcribes everything, breaks it into sections.
And that's where it would go as a...
I can click throughout and it will know that. It also looks for different faces within the video. And if it's someone that it can recognize from like Bing, it will put that put that there. Gives you sentiment, keywords, and you can see the sentiment at different portions throughout the entire video. So putting all of our cognitive service together, this is just a really inspirational video that's always really interesting to me.
I'm Saqib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that I went to a school for the blind. And that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives. And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Pivot Head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces. 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised. 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do, but artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate, and I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before, and in this case we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
So it's just an example of how you can combine all these different cognitive services that we have. Use the speech APIs, use the vision APIs. We can go through the transcript and see it in real time, like it would if I didn't make it.
So I was at university, was
blank,
this idea of
click
something
throughout. So it's really cool to be able to do this all in real time. It's like you said, it's kind of science fiction that you could be able to do this. And we're in that age now where AI is constantly changing and adapting. So it's a great time to get involved with it. So it's really easy to get started with them. You can ask me if you have any questions about the APIs, but they all have free tiers and versionings that you can do. And then there's different developer resources, so you can contribute to all the client SDKs, examples, samples. They love hearing feedback because a lot of them are still in preview. So the video indexer is still in preview. This translator is still in preview. So any feedback is always great. And if anyone typed into that chat, I don't know if anyone has it open. Did anyone do it? Anyone have it open? Okay. Hello. So you can type in different languages, and so if someone types in, say, Spanish, it will come up here in English. Or it should. I thought it would. Guess not. Oh, if you say you were typing, yeah, you have to say what language you're speaking in. If you exit and then come back in, yeah, you have to choose which language you are. So if you say you speak in Spanish, it will translate it to English, which is the version that I asked for. Oh, good. Perfect. Does anyone have any questions? So it's a pretty fun tool. Makes it a little bit more inclusive for the audience.
How expensive resource-wise is it to run? Would you want to run it on, like, you know, a large corpus of television, for instance?
It depends on which service you want to use. So I was just doing computer bit like OCR today actually, and it's $1 per like 1,000 or 10,000 calls. And they do, since most of them are in preview, they do custom pricing tiers for a lot of them. So if you're interested, let me know and I can put you in contact.
Yeah. We should talk. Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you.